Hi guys, good morning. Wern here, Vaping Wern. It's barely 9:30 in the morning and already I'm chasing clouds. Now, as you know, I'm not a regular cloud chaser. I prefer to keep my coils between 0.9 and 1.1 ohms. That's on Genesis, on my K-Fans and whatnot. But I recently picked up this little beast, which is the IGO W-3 dripper. And this is a quad coil dripper. I tried to put in 4 ohm coils to make it a 1 ohm dripper. Unfortunately, I seem to have fumbled somewhere and I ended up with a 0.3 ohm dripper. Now, when I first put this on my my ohm checker, I got a bloody shock because I don't usually build coils that low resistance. Before I get too far, this is not a W3, not an IGO W3 review, but rather a short community service message per se to Malaysian sub-ohmers and to sub-ohmers out there. Back to what I was saying, when it metered at 0.3 ohms, I got a bit worried, and that was mainly because I did not have any 18650 devices at hand. All I had was some 18350 devices, some 18490 devices. The only 18650 device I had was my VAMO and my DNA20. Obviously it wouldn't fire on a DNA20 since it was 0.3 ohms, and same goes for the VAMO. So I actually held off a bit and gave it a shot on the 490 battery. After 2 or 3 vapes, I took out my battery and I got a bit paranoid because the whole battery was heating up very quickly. That's simply because the ohm draw, or rather the power draw on a 0.3 ohm coil is massive. I'm just going to pull up Ohm's law calculator here. Okay, let's input 0.3 resistance and let's assume that the battery is fully charged, just off the charger, so it'll be at about 4.2 volts. I hit calculate and there you go. On a fully charged 4.2 volt battery on a mechanical mod, I am pulling 58.8 watts of power. That's double what the DNA30 can push out. It's triple what the DNA20 pushes out. And remember, this is unregulated power, yeah? And I'm drawing 14 amps of power from the battery. That's dangerous. If I was using a AWIMR 18490, you know, I have an amp limit of 16.5 amps. That's pretty close to the amps that I'm drawing, which is 14 amps, but a bit too close for comfort to me. On paper, it's safe to vape with that battery, but I wouldn't go as far as saying that it would be safe to chain vape on that battery, simply because 14 amp draw is very close to the limit of what your battery can draw. I find it a bit disturbing that a majority of our local, well, not a majority, but a fair number of our local sub-ohmers, they prefer the 18350 battery over, you know, the 490 or even the 650, and that boils down to the size of the mod that they're carrying around. I know it's nice to carry a small mod around. I carry a lot of small mods around. I have the PAPS, I have the Iron mod. You know, the Alamis is a 18350 battery hybrid. My Touchwood is an 18350 battery hybrid. But I personally would never sub-ohm vape on that. Well, I would, but not to the extent of 0.3 ohms. And that's because I like to practice very good sort of I wouldn't say battery management, but battery safety. Even when I chain vape on the DNA and it sort of heats up, I do put it aside and give it a rest. And that's something which I feel that I need to address. Let's assume that I'm just a regular sub-ohmer, a regular cloud chaser, and I decide to bring out my 18350 battery mod instead of an 18650 mod like this one. An AWIMR 18350 700 mAh, that's the regular AW short batteries that we use, is capable of churning out 6 amps. The lowest safe core resistance would be 0.8, and if I churn out 14 amps of power non-stop, sooner or later the battery is going to vent. Worst case scenario, the battery might even explode, and that's not something that we want to see happen to a fellow vapor, or to anybody for that matter. So I always recommend, and I strongly advocate, that you do pull up Ohm's law calculator when you're going very low in terms of your ohms, and I do recommend you get a proper battery, a battery that has a very high power rating before you start sub-ohm vaping. I can see the appeal, it's fun, you have humongous clouds coming up, but I always feel that safety is always the utmost importance. If not for anything, I mean, if you're dead, the only clouds you're gonna blow are in heaven, right? Personally, I've been using the Sony BTC4, I think, and it's capable of pushing out 30 amps of power. The minimum sort of lowest safe resistance will be 0.2, so I'm doing alright. I'm pulling out 14 amps, so it's well within the limits. This is not a sales video. I'm not asking you to come and buy this battery from me, even though I'm selling it, but honest to God, this is just a reminder that above all, cloud chasing is fun. Flavor or no flavor, that's another matter, but above all, safety should always be the priority. Happy Chinese New Year to everybody. There's no sense surviving a firecracker accident if you can't survive your own vapor, right? So have a good one, have a good week ahead, and I'm going to leave you with a vape on, brothers.